Hey everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to our podcast.
Now that we've covered the first Justice League series, now it's time to tackle a sequel and final show by Amazing Bruce Timm, Justice League Unlimited.
This new series focuses on the now expanded Justice League team, with many episodes on not just the original 7, but new members like Green Arrow, Supergirl, Vixen, The Question, and many more. Heck, there are even shout-outs to the original comic storylines.
Mm-hmm. And it's awesome that they expanded the cast because they got lots of characters in here because you sometimes see that now, but they do it so randomly. It's like, who is this? You give no explanation. It's like, here, there they are, that's it.
I think they're assuming you're familiar, as you said, with the original comic storylines, that you're familiar with the comic books they're taken from, and they're assuming that you know who these characters are. But I like it. It was a great trope to use, and like you said, having all these new characters come in. Your favorite new character being The Question. You're probably the only person on Earth that loves The Question.
He's voiced by Jeffrey Combs, and if you're not familiar with him, he was the voice of Ratchet on Transformers Prime.
So he had some really good episodes. He also did a few with Huntress, right? Okay. And then Vixen, she was part of the love triangle between she and John and Shira. But you got to learn more about her character.
All right.
And the version that they do for her in Justice League Unlimited is different than the one that's portrayed that was in the online series. The whole 30-minute series for Vixen. So
yeah, she definitely got more screen time, more focus, more attention. There was way more to do with the character than there was for this new one. So.
Definitely. Supergirl and Green Arrow, well,
they were helpful sometimes,
right.
I guess. Heck, they were in the first episode to prove that they were helpful because they were really new. And Green Arrow got in because of his skills. Supergirl got in because nepotism. Right. So and they were teamed up with Captain M to do their first mission together. But yeah, they got to introduce lots of characters and ones I hadn't heard of. And some of the storylines were from comics as well, and they adapted into the show. Like a lot of ones that we know were like the one where they went to the past and the future.
I knew you were going to bring that up first. I was waiting for that.
They went to the West and they met Jonah Hex. And then they went to the future and met Batman Beyond and Static. And it was really crazy how they pulled all the stuff together.
Right. That's what made this season likable. There were parts of it that I didn't care for. Like, I'm sorry, my favorite intro is Justice League Unlimited. It's okay. I don't like this theme as much as I do the original.
So just almost a generic rock theme for us. It doesn't sound as superhero-y.
And then for me, there was sometimes too much focus on Supergirl. There was just too much focus on her and trying to make her a likable character, as if they really were saying, this is the new character we want you to like in this series, but you already had your favorites from the original. And it was okay that she was added, but I think the way that they were trying to force the audience to focus on her and make her the new favorite, it just didn't work. Because again, you had the first series that cemented that team, and you're loving that team itself.
Right, because not all the characters appear every episode. I mean, sometimes they'll be in some, and there'll be just 2 or 3 of them. Some it'll just be one, and they'll be teamed up with someone else. And it's always different every time. For Supergirl, she was teamed up once or twice, but she was given a mini arc, and there was a Supergirl clone, which, was a big foreshadowing to Young Justice. So that's probably why she was getting a lot of attention, because they were just setting up a mini story arc for her within the series.
Now, one episode she was in I thought was interesting is the one where she met Brainiac.
Yeah.
That was a really good
where
episode.
she got into the future and never came back.
That's not why it was interesting, but I forgot about that bonus. But yes,
they introduced
Brainiac, and it was just an interesting storyline. It really was.
Right. It introduced the Legion of Superheroes, so that was shared universe as well. Like, no wonder you look different in this other show.
Right. Which we cover in another podcast. It's a really great series you really should know about.
And we also, the Wonder Bat also got intensified in here. I mean, it was hinted at in the first series, but it was, about action and stuff. Unlike now where you got to balance so much in it. But it really was becoming more apparent that, Batman liked her back and why he never, asked her out or anything. And he gave these genius, it's like one of the most memorable moments of the entire show. And they would have this clip and quotes all over the internet when it came to that show. And he explained that the reasons were, if he had anyone, if his enemies knew that he had someone close to him like that, they would use her to get to him, or it could jeopardize his identity. What if she couldn't defend herself? And it was like all three were just like null and void.
Right.
Because she got mad, like, yeah, what now? Next? He didn't say anything else. It was like, oh, you don't have to worry about any of those, because you know who she is. She can fight. She knows who you are.
Right.
Like, I don't think it's a problem now.
Yeah.
And the episode where she was turned into a pig by I think it was Cersei.
Oh my god!
Oh, that's the most hilarious episode ever. And they had to get help from Zatanna,
right?
Because she couldn't change her back, and it was hilarious that she caught on because the way he was taking care of her wasn't just take care of her. It was like something else. It was like, wait, are you and her? No, we're just friends. Like, you're a liar.
And I think, was this the season? I may be getting it wrong. Was this the series where they had they were singing in a nightclub?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Poison Ivy came up also.
Yes, that's true. She came up as well. And hold on, what else is there? Oh, there was also an episode where they had this team of teenagers. It was supposed to be, I guess, like Super Friends. There was all these teenage superheroes, and they didn't know they were clones. What's with this franchise and clones?
Right, that one was a crazy episode.
Right.
Yeah, because you knew that they were going to expire because they had made so many duplicates of them that they were just going to expire.
Right, and no one cared. What else was in there? You have any ones you remember that really, really stood out? Because I know I'll keep going.
Well, I was just talking about some of them. The one in the nightclub, and they were doing the singing, and Poison Ivy. As you said, the one went to the past and the future. I mean, we're mentioning them all.
Right.
Those are the ones that stood out that I can remember. But there were 3 seasons, so there were so many. Again, the ones that focused on Supergirl, until they got to that arc about the clone, I didn't care for those as much. But when they did get to that where there was the clone and she was trying to figure out what was going on, and so were they, and that clone was trying to kick her butt, it got interesting.
Right.
It did. It did get interesting.
And another one they had, which was supposed to be a shout out to an old comic they have, was called 7 Soldiers of Justice, and it would be comprised of 7 heroes that didn't have any superpowers. They would just have weapons or skills and stuff, and they had to try to take down this villain with a big superpower. It was during this parade, and the first citizens weren't really into this because they were thinking they can't do this. They need Superman, they need Flash, they need somebody with powers. And even though they almost lost, they were still doing the best they could with what they had. They didn't have any powers, but they were still fighting. And that's what kind of gave them all these this inspiration to the citizens, because you had like one that was a knight, one that was a cowboy, a Green Arrow. You had all these different people that just had weapons or skills and stuff. They didn't have any superpowers, but yet they
were
attempted.
Like Batman, not on steroids.
Right, they attempted to take it on, even though they most likely didn't make it. They were still trying, even if they did fail.
Right. Well, that just reminded you of Batman and Robin, because he and none of his wars had superpowers.
Right.
But they, again, had tenacity. They had wit, ingenuity. Batman was the detective, investigative prowess. So, yeah, I mean, that was like a shout out to all of the superheroes who don't have powers in the DC universe.
Right.
Which there aren't many, but that was a great shout out to them.
Right. And also, I'll mention that, when it gets to near the end of the series, they really start piling on this arc of what's happening and like something's coming, especially with a dark side was coming to Earth, and then also you had Brainiac from the other series, and you had the Legion of Doom as well, and Gorilla Grodd, and all the villains and the heroes had to team up. And it was just really, really great how they set up everything, and had a lot of great action. You didn't get 2 seconds of fighting, and it was just really engaging in the writing and the storytelling. Everything about it was just, you just enjoyed it. No matter which character you liked everything that was brought to the screen.
And to me, this kind of mirrors how the second season of Young Justice went. You had all these new different heroes that were there, and the focus was on them more than on the original 5 characters.
Right.
Same way in this series. The focus was more on the new additional characters than it was on the original team. And talk a little more about the question, because again, I know how much you love the question.
Okay. Sometimes you wonder how he got into the Justice League, because he's crazy. He's this detective. Yeah, he's a conspiracy theorist. He has his mask on to where you can't see any facial features whatsoever, which I guess helps because you don't know who he is until you take it off. So it is actually an actual mask that actually hides your identity and not some paint.
Right.
He had some episodes that start off with Supergirl at first, and how her arc started and how it was revealed he was helping her. Apparently he had tags on everybody at that tower, and it was hilarious when he said something. She said, "How did you know that? Do you go into my room, or you go into my trash or something?" He said, "Please, I go through everyone's trash." I'm like, okay, then you need to throw out your stuff or lock away your trash can. And he actually started to get a few more focus episodes, especially with Green Arrow and Black Canary and Huntress. And then he had a showdown with Luthor, like one of the characters you least expect to fight with him.
Right.
And unfortunately, that didn't help because I think he was pumped up with Kryptonite, so unfortunately he didn't make it out of that. And he became a really interesting character because he was the one starting to tie in everything. He was like, before fan theory and stuff became a thing, he was the guy putting everything together behind the scenes and linking everyone's story arc together to what was going to be the final story of the series.
Right.
And they thought he was loony because of the stuff he would do, and then he turned out it was right. He was just kind of going a little crazy because he figured out how were all these connected. And when he did figure it out, he was determined to stop it.
Well, this was a great sequel to the first series, and as we said, there are things to love about it. There's some things you're like, we could have done without, but you know, all in all, we're really happy this series existed. Now, there is like what do you call it when you're trying to get a show back? A movement attempting to bring back Justice League, another incarnation for another animated TV series.
Right. Or even a reunion movie.
Right. So we're really hoping for that. It will be great. And it will be great to have the original voice actors from Justice League doing the same characters. And some of the new ones as well. So keep a lookout for that. Keep hoping, keep pushing, keep signing, keep tweeting, whatever we have to do to get another incarnation of this series.
We got season 3 of Young Justice finally, so we can get this too.
That's right. And unfortunately, it's no longer available on Netflix.
Right.
But can you buy the series on Amazon?
Yeah, you can buy the series or the seasons, or whichever. But yes, the whole thing is available to get on there, because you definitely can't really watch it on YouTube unless you watch like different clips or something. So,
well, that's it. Stay tuned for our next installment for Rascal Entertainment Superhero Month tomorrow.
I'm Rascal Entertainment,
and I'm Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.